Hey y'all, thanks for stopping by. This is Takedown Talk, and tonight we're taking a look at a rare little crossover blade, the LionSteel Spyderco Lil LionSpy. Let's get into it. Why the LionSteel Spyderco Lil LionSpy? Because it's a beautifully made small knife that feels like a tank buster in hand. This knife is something of an iconoclast, being an attempt to combine design languages from two very stylistic knife companies, Italy's LionSteel and Colorado's Spyderco. The knife mostly takes after the Italian side, as it is manufactured in LionSteel's Maniago factory and shares traits from their existing models, most notably the Maletta-designed SR2. Of course, Spyderco's main, and as far as I can tell, only contribution to the design is the round hole opening method. This one in particular has some extra cool points because it belonged to and was batoned by none other than the newly crowned clickbait king himself, Advanced Knife Bro. It was a right place, right time kind of thing, so big thanks to him for an excellent deal on this knife. This is quite possibly one of my favorite knife handles ever. Let's start with the lock side. It is a radiused, heavily machined piece of titanium that utilizes ripples along the scale to aid in grip, but which also add to the visual interest. A hefty lock bar with a steel lock interface serves as our frame lock, and it is a bit on the stiff side. I wish the lock bar had been given at least a little bit of jimping, but the deep cutout allows for easy access to disengage the lock. I must point out that this specific knife seems to suffer from lock slip, which occurs when the tang of the blade is ground at too sharp of an angle, causing the face of the lock bar to slip very slightly when opened, but not in hand. In my opinion, this is not a serious issue, as it's only noticeable when your hand is not gripping the handle. However, I will correct it to some extent in the takedown, so stick around for that. Also included is LionSteel's patented Rotoblock, a rotating lock bar stabilizer that can lock the blade in the open position, essentially making the knife a fixed blade. Let's be honest, this is a gimmick, and I don't use it, but I do prefer having a lock bar stabilizer, and not once has the Rotoblock accidentally engaged, so I don't really have an issue with it being there. The show side of the handle is made from black G10 and is nicely done if somewhat unremarkable. This side is also radiused and has the same ripple texturing. For my size hands, the ergonomics are fantastic. I have small but wide hands, and I can easily get a 4-finger grip on the handle. Now for somebody with medium or larger size hands, this may not work as well for you, but still, thanks to the contoured handles, I think it's worth considering. I really love how both sides meet on the spine of the handle. They come together flush, and we'll see just how that works when we get to the takedown. Overall, the fit and finish is superb and in line with LionSteel's reputation. The materials meet seamlessly, and there are no raised or exposed areas that shouldn't be. Admittedly, the blade centering is pretty bad, but that doesn't bother me personally as long as the functionality isn't affected, and it isn't here. Our blade steel on offer is LMAX, an excellent powder steel produced by Bowler. LMAX was developed as an alloy steel with relatively large amounts of chromium, vanadium, and molybdenum. This results in high levels of wear resistance and corrosion resistance when compared to introductory powder steels like S30V. Furthermore, it exhibits exceptional toughness for a folding knife steel, with greater dimensional stability than that of M390, ultimately yielding a very well-balanced option with the scales tipped to favor toughness. LionSteel presents it here with a subtle satin finish, a very thick blade stock, and a convex grind, suggesting that blade strength is indeed the emphasis. Yet even with all of those factors, I found that this knife slices like a beast. The method of deployment is the aforementioned Spyderco round hole, and while the action is somewhat slow due to its Teflon washers, this knife can be opened quickly or slowly with the thumb, and even Spidey flicked or Spidey dropped. This is my favorite Spyderco pocket clip ever, and technically they didn't even make it. It borrows the fold-over style of the SR2's clip, but in a spoon shape like that seen on most Spyderco folders, resulting in a very deep carry. The clip is mounted on the butt of the handle using proprietary hardware, which is a shame, but the necessary tool is included with the knife. Also, I think you could use the protruding screw as a glass breaker. I haven't tried it, but it looks like it might work. Retention is good, it comes in and out of the pocket easily, and will stay in place when walking or running, and likely even if you were suspended upside down. Acquiring the Lil LionSpy is difficult, but not impossible. The knife has been discontinued and is no longer available through mainstream retailers, but it can be bought new on eBay for inflated prices. But good offers do still randomly show up. It may also be possible to hunt down one on the secondary market through blade forums or Reddit knife swap, so keep an eye out there if you're interested. Another lovely crossover between these two companies that came out this year is the Spy Opera, so if the partnership between Spyderco and LionSteel is what gets your goat, you can find that knife through all the main providers. Philosophy of use for this knife is an EDC blade that is ready to tackle heavier duty tasks. It fits snugly into the pocket, and yet that big thick blade is ready to go to work. But if what you're looking for is a little blade that performs like it has a Napoleonic syndrome, you found your knife in the Spyderco LionSteel Lil LionSpy. Alright, taking down the Spyderco LionSteel Lil LionSpy. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. I'm really excited to share this one with you. This is a really cool little blade, and I was really excited to get a hold of one because they're not in production anymore. You can still get them on eBay, and the prices aren't terrible. But what happened was I was on Instagram, and it was a right place, right time kind of thing. And one of my favorite YouTubers, Advanced Knife Bro, he was actually selling his. So this is from Advanced Knife Bro. I was really happy to pick this up off of him, and gosh, it's been such a fun little knife. I've really enjoyed it. So a couple things that I noticed, and that he was forthright about. So he batons his blades. That's just something he does on his channel, and I think it's awesome. If I had the guts to do it, I would do it. I just like that he brings a lot of humor onto his videos. And anyway, his channel's all fun. By the way, if you're watching my videos and you're not watching his, something's wrong here. So you need to get over to his channel, check out his videos. It's Advanced Knife Bro. But in any case, everything about the knife is perfect. There's a slight bit of lock rock. I'm not sure if you guys are going to hear that, but I'll try to get it up to the microphone here. I don't know if y'all can hear that. It's very slight. And so I want to try to correct that tonight and see if we can fix this. So I've taken this apart once already, just kind of cleaned it out. His main complaint that he had told me that he had a problem with was the centering. Well, he doesn't really care about centering, but he said other people, might care about the centering, as well as the action he felt was a little bit slow. So as soon as I got it, I took it apart, cleaned it up, gave it a nice oiling, and it's running really fantastic right now. But we're going to try to fix that lock rock. Even if it doesn't go away, I'm still uber happy with this knife. So yeah, enough of me rambling on. Let's get into this badass little knife here. Pivot, I believe. We're going to do it from the show side. Let's try a T8. If you've been following my channel for a minute, yeah, T8, perfect. I like bigger folders. And every now and then I'm like, I should really try something smaller. Small knives are fun, man. They're fidgety, and the thing is, you'll surprise yourself with how capable they are. You can get a lot of work done with a small knife. So this has kind of reignited that appreciation for small knives that I once had, and that I get every now and then. This knife comes apart kind of interestingly, just because y'all can see, I'll show you on the camera here. It's got this perfectly flush, the way the scales meet back here. It's almost similar to something you'd see on like a Strider SMG or SMF, where the titanium is milled out for this little bar here, and the G10's milled out for the opposite bar, and they just meet together perfectly flush. So the construction is definitely different than anything that I've dealt with before. But it's not a big deal. It's just the first time I took it apart was a bit of an educational experience. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna deploy the knife. Awesome. And then, I'll leave that driver in for now, actually. What I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna get this ready. I'm gonna use this as a very slight pry tool. Don't freak out, just very slight. If I had a thin enough piece of plastic, that's what I would use, but unfortunately I don't. And actually, we're gonna go ahead and pop the pivot out. While we're on the subject, I also wanna see if I can correct that centering by swapping the washers out. And this runs on Teflon washers, which a lot of people complain about when they see a nice knife running on Teflon. I actually don't mind it. Teflon can be really great. I'm gonna leave that one on there as well to remind myself which one I want to. I'm not gonna use that to do that. Which washer I wanna swap out. Okay, let's get that other Teflon disc out of there. Here we go. All right, so these two washers are gonna need to swap. Note to self. Okay, so as y'all can see, it's still, even though I've taken the screws and the pivot out, it's still very much on there. And the reason is the receivers for the screws are very firmly connected to this titanium bar. So you actually have to kind of wedge it out, which is what we are gonna do now. Now there is I don't know if y'all can see that, but there is a little gap right there, and you can get something in there and wedge these apart. I don't know if that's by design or if it just happened to be how this is made. I would imagine that that would be by design. And you want to be, especially given that I'm using a knife to do this, you want to be very gentle. You don't want to scratch up the titanium or the G10. And trust me, it takes some doing. I'm hoping I can, oh gosh, we need to take the pocket clip off. That'll make things a little bit easier. Pocket clip uses a proprietary screw. This is the tool for it. So we're gonna just take this off real quick. It's very easily done. Kind of a pain, but it's not that much of a problem. There we go. Oh, now it's sticking. Come on. There we go. I'm gonna leave that in there. There's our pocket clip, by the way. Awesome, awesome clip. This is one of my favorite clips I've ever seen on a Spyderco. I love it. Okay, come on. So I'm gonna kind of try to get it started, wedge my fingers in here, and it's not wanting to go. So let's see if we can help it. This is the part that I really dislike. It's not awful, it's just like, oh, it makes me nervous putting something that small in there. There we go, we're getting in there now. Oh yeah, oh yeah, all right. So just gently kind of wedge that back and forth. Here we go, guys, we are cooking with Crisco here. Come on. Yeah, a traditional pocket knife is really not ideal for what I'm doing here, but unfortunately I don't have anything that is not made of metal and is not bladed that is thin enough to do this job. Come on. Come on, you're getting loose. You know, you want to come off all the way. Come on. Let's get in there, keep wedging, keep wedging. Actually, you know what? Let me see if I can switch to the Spay blade here. That might make things easier. It's a little bit stouter. Yeah. Part of the problem is I think that stop pin is also holding things in place. It's not come, yeah, look at that, it's not come loose yet. What's funny is the pin didn't give me this much trouble when I took it apart the first time. There we go. Okay, we got the pin loose. Now it should be a lot easier. Get the Spay blade back in there. Yep, now everything's coming apart much easier. All right, so y'all can see it takes some doing. It's not impossible though. go ahead and pop that stop pin out if we can. There we go. That thing sticks. All right, now another thing you can see here, it might be hard to see. Come on, focus for me. There's some slight marks there. Y'all see them now? I believe that was from where the batoning, where he batoned it. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it to where the blade tang, or not the blade tang, I guess you could call it the blade tang, where the tang meets the stop pin. If there's, you know, a little bit of slight deformation, that can cause, you know, some lock rock. So we'll try rotating that. So let's set that over here. Actually, I'm going to put it right there. And get this stuff out of the way. Put our G10 scale down here. This part comes out as well. This is the receiver for the screw for the pocket clip. Pretty neat little design here for this. Just got a little pin that goes in there and holds it in place. Set that over there by the pocket clip. Come on. And this is, yeah, this is perfectly circular, not a D-shaped. Now, as y'all can see, this is totally milled here. I'm not going to be disassembling the roto block just because I don't feel that I need to. There's no real reason to do that. Also, if you don't know what the roto block is, it's just like a little, it's an over travel stop, but then you can turn it and it locks the lock bar in place, so it can't be, the lock bar cannot be opened. So basically you end up having a fixed folding knife. I don't really ever use it, but I guess it's a neat feature to have if you were ever really doing some hard work. But this is such a nice blade, I wouldn't do that anyway. So these receivers here, they almost look like they're milled out of the titanium. But they can't be. No, they can't be because they're sitting here in these pockets. I wonder, they don't want to push out. I'm not going to really force this. Yeah, they're not moving. No, sir. Yeah, I'm not going to force those out just because it doesn't, I mean, I wouldn't gain anything from it. So, here's what I wanted to get into. And I learned this, this little trick from a video by Rich Made Knives. I believe he's a custom knife maker. And he talks about how to adjust your lock bar excuse me, how to adjust your lock bar in order to minimize lock rock. So what he was saying is, with titanium in particular, with it being kind of a, it's not steel, but it has spring qualities. So where you set it, where you leave a piece of titanium in terms of bending it, it'll come back to that position. That's how these frame locks work. So you want to kind of mark a place in relation to the scale and where the lock bar is overlapping the scale, and that's where your target area is that you want the lock bar to rest. I already know where that is in my case. It's going to be basically to where this side, the outer side of the frame lock, is even with the inner side of the scale itself. Now what you have to do is you have to overextend the bar to get it to return to that point, because it's just going to keep going to the position that it remembered it was supposed to be in, and we're nearly there already. One thing that's interesting while we're here about this knife is that it has a cutout for the lock bar on both the outside and the inside. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Kind of an interesting way to do it. Let's give it one more push here. And the good thing is you can always bend it back. Okay guys, let's have a look at that. Boy, that is close. I'll give it one more little bit. A little bit more. Just not quite seeing it yet. All right, guys, I think that is perfect. I think that's what we want. So the way that I noticed this was when I was holding the knife, if I was squeezing the lock bar into that point, lockup was perfect. No blade play whatsoever. And I could still disengage the lock just fine. So we're gonna see if that's gonna get us there. So let's go ahead and clean up. Oh, and while we're on it, this is our exploded view, guys. Let me get everything organized for y'all. I'm gonna make a mental note. This washer is going to go on this side. That is going to be, that's going to align with this scale. This washer is going to go over here. That aligns with the G10 scale. All right, mental note made. Y'all don't let me forget now. Get that Q-tip out of the way. All right, I'm going to get this organized for you guys, and we will have our exploded view. All right, y'all, let's get these parts cataloged. We have our L-Max blade, our G10 scale, our titanium scale. We have the pin for the receiver for the pocket clip. We have the receiver. We have the pocket clip screw. We have the stop bar, 3 body screws, our pivot screw, and 2 Teflon washers. All right, guys, so let's get this guy cleaned up. Well, actually, scratch that. As I said earlier, I just disassembled this thing and I just cleaned it out. So I'm not gonna do a full clean down here, but I will tell you guys what I typically do is I have a microfiber cloth, spray it with a spray bottle of soap and water, and I just wipe down every single little piece of the knife. Just give you guys an example, just a quick wipe down. Nothing crazy, just make sure that everything's clean. You know what, while we're here, I'll just go ahead and wipe this thing down. Just dry wipe it. L-Max steel on this blade. Man, this is the first knife that I've been able to get in my collection with L-Max, so pretty stoked on that. All right, everything else should be good to go though, guys. So another thing I wanted to bring up, as I said earlier, this knife is running on Teflon. Now I've always been of the idea that you don't have to oil Teflon, which you don't have to. But I tried oiling this and I noticed a huge jump. Not a huge jump, but a noticeable jump in the action. I was really impressed. So we're going to be oiling that just a little tiny bit. So why don't we do this? Let's get the stop bar in position where we want it. Let's see if we can find, yeah, we got these 2 marks here. Again, it might be hard to pick up on the camera. I'm moving it. So you'll see them on either side of the bar. 2 little marks there. So we're going to put that on the, let's put that on the bottom. I'm guessing that's where the blade was impacting against the stop pin. So we'll get our stop pin back in place. I've got my, got it right where I want it. Let's rotate it actually, see if I can get it out of there. No, that should be fine. Okay, we'll get the pivot back in place. Now the pivot is not D-shaped, but it is a locking pivot. So the way that this works is you have this flat here on the top, right in that little circle right there, and there's another flat on the opposite side. So not your traditional D-shape, but it works just fine. It is kind of difficult to get back in properly. The corresponding flats are on the sides. So let's turn this sideways. Should be correct. This is a tight fitting pivot in this titanium scale. Yep, there we go. Perfect. Okay guys, gonna get my mineral oil out here. I'm a fan of mineral oil because it is food safe, readily available. You can get it pretty much anywhere. And it just works pretty well. It's not the most amazing stuff in the world. It's a little bit thick. Not like, not light like nano oil, but like I said, it works. All right, a little bit on top. Let's drop our blade into place here. Looking good, guys. Okay. Just a touch more oil. Don't want to overdo it. I'm bad about overdoing it, guys, and I'm making a mental effort here to not do what I normally do. All right, get our next Teflon washer on here. Very curious to see how the swap in washers affects the centering. Honestly, it probably, if I'm being totally honest, it probably won't affect it at all. But I'm one to try. All right, so we've got our little tube here for the Come on, get right where I want you. For the deep carry pocket clip. It's a cool little design. This tool is a little bit, our tool, this tube is a little bit finicky. Come on, get in there. Oop. Why don't we do this? Let's drive the tube in first. That'd be the smart way to do things. I'm not known for always using the smartest approach. There we go, perfect. All right, and now we can go ahead and get the G10 scale back on. This goes on much easier than it comes off, so you don't have to worry so much there. Is everything in position? Yeah, everything's in position, so just straight down. There we go. Put a hard push on that stop bar there, because that stop bar tends to sit kind of funny. But I think we got it. Yep, everything's lining up nicely. All right, so let's go ahead and get the pivot in place. Swap back to my T8 real quick. And I'm just going to, you know what, before we do, I'm going to Loctite that. Here we go. Get my blue Loctite out here. Actually, that bottle's running low. Let's get this other one. Oh, lordy. Come on. Get a little bit off the nozzle here. Yeah, oh Lord, we got enough on there. Don't overdo it. You're always overdoing it. Why you gotta overdo it? Just take it easy. All right. Tried to angle this so y'all can see it better. There we go. Just gently screwing that in. Okay, switch back to T6 for the body screws. All right, guys, getting this pocket clip back on. A little bit too much Loctite on that. Gosh, I gotta find a new way of getting Loctite here. All right, let me get the little proprietary tool. This thing kind of sucks, by the way. Like, look how loosely it fits this. Look at this. I mean, come on, look at that. If you're gonna do a proprietary tool, at least make it tight fitting. I mean, come on. Look at that. But I like the clip a lot. Kind of reminds me of the ZT0562 clip, but I like it more, to be honest with you. All right, that's nice and tight. Okay. Just getting all the Loctite off my fingers here. Let's check the play. Actually, very little play. All right, back to our T8 so we can tighten the pivot up. Easy there on the NATO strap. Okay, it's a little tight. Try loosening that up. No play. Centering's the same, by the way. There we go. Let's check the lockup. Rock solid, guys, it worked. Rock solid. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. Action's awesome. No side to side. No up and down. So guys, let this be proof. Bending the lock bar, I know it sounds scary, but it actually results in, if you're dealing with lock rock, this solved the problem for me. Big thanks to Rich Made Knives, man. You really helped me out a lot with your video. You guys go check him out. His video, I think it's just called how to adjust a lock bar. I think it's something like that. But yeah, you sir, you saved me with this, so I appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by. Lil LionSpy, awesome knife, advanced knife, bro. Thank you for selling it to me, man. I'm loving it, really enjoying it. Y'all go check him out, dude. He's hilarious. His videos are awesome. Also, I'm assuming he's a videographer. Just as a videographer myself, I see the way he shoots B-roll, and it's been a huge inspiration to me. Kind of influenced the way that I shoot B-roll. Anyway, I'm rambling. You guys have a great night, and I will see y'all next time.